Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode here at Tribal Trades. We've got the daily show coming to you, streaming to wherever you are in the world. Welcome to you tuning in. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. If you could smash the like button, that will help get this out to more people. And of course, love all the comments and questions that I get. I look to get back to those as soon as I can, especially all the comments lately because we missed a few days. We were in Utah, beautiful, hospitable Utahans. Amazing weather, beautiful scenery, mountains, crystal clear water, and just the hotel where we were staying at. I think I might have gotten a video up, but just for the last few days, we just could not get a video up. And I was giving updates in the Discord, and that's why it's so important, in my opinion, to be part of a community. I would totally recommend the stockswithjosh.com community, the Discord there. I am in the crypto channel every day, connecting with the most amazing community. And so I was giving updates on there that because I couldn't get the YouTube videos up. And so, so I'm back now and videos are going. This is actually being done on Friday after the close that we've had under the 50-day moving average. We've closed. We're going to see if we come down to 200 EMA on the daily, fill that CME gap. Maybe we'll see. And we'll post this on Saturday morning. So if there is some volatility while I sleep, that's what might have occurred. We're still going to go through the charts and walk through some stuff. We've got a lot of stuff to follow, to cover. And the first thing I want to cover is the CME gap. And the CME gap is close to being filled. We're a couple of thousand away. It just so happens also to be near the 200 EMA. And so we could possibly see that filled. Here on the Bitcoin chart, if we have a look, the 200 EMA is there at 59,800. The CME gap is also there around this area, 58,800 up to about, I think about 60. There's a bit of a gap here. And so we could well see this come down and fill this gap here, which would be interesting if we did that. Also, remember the hash ribbons. I've been telling people that the hash ribbons indicator when the capitulation signal is there. We saw Bitcoin come down. This turned out to be a great buying opportunity here around the July 4th time frame to buy the dip. And then the blue buy signal happens. And historically, when that's happened, Bitcoin has always seen some pretty incredible gains. It doesn't mean that we can't drop first, and that's exactly what happens. But I will tell you that historically, whenever this blue buy signal has triggered, we have seen the local bottom, which was 53K, not be breached. And so if you go back the time before, I believe when it flashed off, the local bottom was like 15K, and we've never come back and gone below that. And so that is some good news if history does repeat. It doesn't always repeat, but it sometimes it often rhymes. Is that what they say, right? And so we could see two situations happen. One, come down, fill the CME gap, take off. That is the situation that I am preferring. Now, of course, I'm not factoring in any black swan events like some kind of Silk Road U.S. government sell-off or some world event or war triggering or some kind of stock market collapse or economic collapse. Certainly, those are black swan events. But if we continue on the market cycle, Bitcoin cycle, then an expectation of coming down, filling the CME gap, testing and rebounding off the 200 EMA on the daily again, and then shooting off. And, we could go sideways a little bit, of course, for a little bit or chop around for a little bit. And alts could get really more hammered. So be very careful you're not trying to catch a falling knot. Okay. So let's see what happens. The CME gap to be filled. The hash ribbons indicator means that historically we should not come down lower than 53K. It doesn't mean that we can't come down to 57 or 55. And so we'll just see what happens there. We certainly had a very eventful day in the stock market, and certainly the FOMC meetings tended to kick this off before we even had a bloody day in the stock market, deciding that they weren't going to cut rates and that they weren't going to cut it unless they could see inflation come down, more control. The markets didn't like that very much at all. And certainly anytime there has been an FOMC meeting this year, Bitcoin dropped, and they have marked local bottoms after those drops. So we could have another local bottom here after going from 53 to 70. Let's hope that we find a local bottom again here at around somewhere between 55 to 58, 59K, somewhere in that gap there, and then consolidate and move up again as well. And speaking of the stock market, it was a really bloody day on the stock market. I do have stocks in my cheat sheet. We'll go and look at that at some point in the show because some of those got filled, but there was a slaughter. The worst day in US stock market since March 16, 2020, of Apple sitting in cash and buying back their own stock. So the question is, are we in some kind of recession? Well, essentially, historically, a recession has been, until it was changed, has been always 2 consecutive negative quarters of real GDP. That happened in 2022, but the government decided that that wasn't going to be a recession, this time, even though that has always been the key factor in a recession in US history since the World Wars. And so now they're saying, the US recession is underway because of such and such and so. The 3-month average for unemployment rate is 4.1, which is 50 basis points higher than the 12-month low. It's triggered in every US recession since 1970, except for 2. So it's not an 100% factor, whereas the GDP has always been 100% hit rate, but the current government regime decided that they wanted to redefine what a recession actually was and decided that it didn't happen in 2022. Now maybe it's happening now, and that's caused a lot of fear and panic, unfortunately, in the market. We also have a situation with the Japanese yen, which is not super great, but something is breaking in Japan when the top is in. And the Nikkei, we usually have 3 to 4 months before the top is in. In the US markets, recession is coming, hashtag, according to Henrik Zeberg. And so he does think that there will be a bit of a rally and a blow off top, and then the US will pull the rest of the world out of the dip. So let's see what happens with that anyway. And of course, more on the yen situation here. We have a little bit more data coming out in the news. Is the chart of the Japanese yen versus the US dollar. For 30 years, Japan has 0% interest on their currency. And so they borrowed the yen at no cost. But the first time the Bank of Japan increased interest rates by 25 basis points, this is almost unprecedented. And so obviously, this creates a little bit of an issue in the markets and a little bit of capitulation in the markets. So reporting here, it keeps strengthening. Risk assets are going to get murdered. We're going to get murdered, okay? And look, at the end of the day, this was posted on August the 1st, and there was some blood out there in the stock market and in crypto. So yeah, very, very interesting there, certainly with the yen. And I had been talking about Bitcoin dominance, and it had its highest weekly close of the cycle. And also, the thing to understand with Bitcoin dominance is this, is that number one, when Bitcoin dominance rises, but Bitcoin price drops, alts get destroyed. And that's exactly what happened. And that's why I wasn't too aggressive buying today. I did have some buy levels set. I removed a couple of buy levels now, and I'll look at seeing what happens. But certainly because purely because of the Bitcoin dominance. And I did post the cheat sheet in the Discord, which shows you how to trade the Bitcoin dominance. But certainly when Bitcoin dominance is high and price drops low, alts get utterly obliterated. And so it's very important to note that. Keep that in mind for next time when this happens, just to wait to see what plays out. Sometimes the best trade is no trade, and sometimes you might have entries, and you might want to take some of those middle entries out and let it hit the lower entries back down as well. But of course, it should rebound. So even if you bought a few levels on the way down, you should have a good average price where you can take profit on the way up when it starts to move up in the right direction. And certainly the whales and the long-term holders of Bitcoin are scooping up the Bitcoin. And this is important to understand. Long-term Bitcoin holders are on a buying spree, adding over 110,000 Bitcoin to their portfolios. So while the short-term holders are panic selling out, the longer-term holders and the whales are scooping up these Bitcoin at these prices. The key to this is, why would anybody be selling their Bitcoin at these prices? Why wouldn't you have sold at 70K, 69K, taken profit? Now you should be buying back, not selling. A lot of people trade back to front. They don't sell, greed comes in, all of a sudden now it drops, they get scared, and then they sell. Have a plan, stick to the plan, buy fear, buy weakness, buy the dips, sell strength, sell greed, sell the pumps. Every time, all the time. And that's why I encourage people to have 2 different portfolios at least. I have 3, and I cover this in my life-changing gains series, okay, which is in here on my cheat sheet. You can see it. I have it under education here. I have all of the educational links here, and I'll add more to it. We've got HODL, accumulate, and trade, which is the money printing method. I've got 5 episodes on the trade portfolio. The trade is just the day trade, in and out as many times in a day. The swing trades could take a number of weeks to play out. That's the accumulate method. That's where you would be buying Bitcoin at 53K, and then when it hits 70K, you sell. And then you buy it back at 58K or 57, 56, 55. You can do some dollar cost average buying there, and then you would sell again at 70K. The HODL strategy is where you buy the Bitcoin and just hold it and sell at intervals on the way up, and you don't end up rebuying it back because you have an accumulate portfolio to do that. And I did get asked, do you do that in one exchange or in different exchanges? It's easy. It's obviously better to have 2 different exchanges to do that in. I've got links here. We can sign up. If you're in the USA, Bitfinex is a great, very low fees, no spreads, because you can just do an exact limit buy and sell order. No KYC is needed, but you do need a VPN. I do have the NordVPN link here, which everybody should be using anyway, because it allows you to be anonymous. If you don't use a VPN, people can track you and know exactly where you are, who you are, and your location or your identity. None of it is private or secure, and you are definitely exposed to hackers and fraudsters. So definitely the NordVPN is great anyway, but certainly on Bitfinex, if you sign up there using this code, this helps support the channel. You'll get reduced trading fees. I'll certainly get some referral on that, so it's a win-win situation. But so you could be in Bitfinex, and maybe that's where you have your swing, and maybe you're in Coinbase for your trade, or maybe you're in Crypto.com or Uphold if you're in the USA. If you're in a different country, obviously MEX is the one that I would recommend. You are outside the USA, and then after that, probably Bybit, BitGet, OKX, KuCoin, probably KuCoin second, and then probably get Bybit and OKX there as well. Now, some of them do have 2 portfolios built in. So if you trade on KuCoin, they have a trade and a HODL. It's called different. I can't remember what it's called now, but they have 2 separate portfolios. You can hold Solana or Bitcoin in one and another different one in the other. And so one could be your HODL and the other could be your swing or your accumulate bag. Also, Bybit has that as well. I can't remember if BitGet has that. I don't believe Mexi has that. I'm pretty sure it doesn't. So there's some good things, good resources in there. So yeah, Bitfinex is the way to go if you are in the US of A. And of course, we have stocks here, and some of these stocks got hit. I know now 2 of my NVIDIA targets have been hit, 2 of my Tesla targets have been hit, 2 of my Coinbase targets have been hit. I'll have to look and see if these other ones have been hit as well, but certainly I might need to start adding entries if stocks keep selling off. And again, this is the aggressive entry. So definitely it's at your own risk. It's kind of where price was at the time in case it goes up. And then otherwise there's entry 1, which you don't have to have. You might want to put your buy orders on entry 2, 3, or 4. Certainly this is just a guide depending on your risk appetite or how you feel the market is going or how much budget you have. Somebody sent a message saying they only had budget for 2 entries. So just go with 2 entries. Just pick 2 entries and trade according to that. And again, we have others list here, the other coins, have some exits for some coins that I recommend or that I get out of, because I'm not recommending anything because this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor, education, entertainment purpose only, but how I've gotten out of all of these coins. And then of course we have all the cheat sheet coins, which are pretty much all in buy zones, except for Casper and OM Mantra. So those have been 2 of the strongest coins so far on this dip. So Casper buy order hasn't been hit yet, but I have a buy order in there for Casper Certainly, I did take profit on Casper at around 21. And again, it's just not about being greedy. I'm an aggressive profit taker. I felt that there was some weakness in the market. The Bitcoin dominance tipped me off when Bitcoin dominance is going up and Bitcoin price is going down. Some of the alts went down. Casper initially went up. I'm like, bang, I need to take profit. That's not going to last long. Alts are going to get smashed. And now I can buy that Casper back much lower than what I sold it for at 21 cents. And I'm still waiting for it to come back after I sold out of that position. I'm trying to get back in that position. At the moment, I'm looking to get back in around 85 cents. I do realize it's about $1.10, and that's not a bad entry. That's an aggressive entry. It's not a bad entry, and so certainly that might be a good place to get in. I do want to go before the charts, talk about the Musk empire and give an update on Hamster token. There has been some updates on the Hamster token. There was meant to be an airdrop in July. That hasn't happened. I don't know when they're going to have it. I'm spending a very minimal amount of time on that game, just enough every couple of hours to get my tokens, buy some mining packs, and try and improve my hourly reward. So when the airdrop does come, I can kind of maximize that. My general gut feeling right now, they did say 60% of the are going to be airdropped to the community. I do believe the Musk empire said 90% of their tokens or all of their tokens are going to the community. I'm going to have to check on that. Please, if someone wants to fact check me on that, I would appreciate that. But I do recall seeing that. I do feel the Musk empire could possibly end up being the better airdrop. I'm kind of starting to feel a little bit doubtful on the Hamster. I feel that they haven't wanted to do it because it might end up being a little bit measly. And definitely some of you in the Discord have called out that you feel that's going to be the case. It's hard to disagree with that. We got in very late on that. It's very hard to grow the hourly rate compared to the Musk empire. I feel they have a better ecosystem. They have better gameplay. They have a better setup there. And certainly they have gone through and done a lot of upgrades here. And it's not a tap game anymore. It's a fully fledged financial strategy game. Real token economy inside. When you enter the game, you'll notice major gameplay changes. If you haven't been in for a while, things have changed and moved around and so forth. It's just the beginning and they've called it the X Empire now. It used to be called the Musk Empire. Now they've called it the X Empire as well. So yeah, check that out. There is a link in the description to sign up to play the game. I don't think it's too late on this one. I really don't. But I think if you're going to get started, you better get started fairly quickly and get moving with it. This could end up being a very good airdrop. It may not. These are the chances you take. Again, it's free money. It only costs your time. So just use dead time. Don't use your valuable time as resources. There are times that I use it as just in dead time where I'm just waiting to do something. I may be waiting for something to cook in the microwave or in the oven or just something, and I've got a moment and I use that time. So just do that. All right, we're going to quickly get to the charts and have a look at the Bitcoin chart here. As we look before the hash ribbons indicator, I feel a drop below this 53K is going to be unlikely. There's the 200 EMA on the daily at about 59,700. The CME gap is there as well. Look at these trend lines have provided some great support on the Bitcoin token here as we've come down. Certainly there's Lux Algo buy orders down here quite low. I'm not expecting those to get hit. Just because the orders are there doesn't mean that we'll go there. Certainly I do feel this will be defended quite well, and I do feel this will be the local low. I'd like to see a higher low here, fill the CME gap around here, and then obviously work our way up. I've still got this timeline here as we come through. First of all, our first timeline here is for near the end of August to come back into this area and push through, or we could play out this larger wedge here, this larger bullish wedge pattern, which stretches out to around the October timeframe, which actually lines up more with previous cycles where Bitcoin did take off in that final quarter. If you check back in 2020, you'll see that that's exactly what happened with Bitcoin. Now, Ethereum's taken a real pounding. Well, they all have really taken a huge. And look, by the way, for those of you who didn't exit those exit coins that I gave you, that last pump was a perfect time to get out of those, sell them out, and then buy other coins, stronger coins in this dip. So ETH is just completely smashed through this 200 EMA, it's like not there. It smashed into this trend line here, and currently we're under it, and we have this Lux Algo order block. But honestly, I'm not feeling confident that ETH holds. We could well come down and test down these lower areas at around 2,200 down here. I'm not expecting it to go below 3 to 2,400. So we could see a further drop because, let's face it, we've lost the 200 EMA. Generally speaking, on the daily, it doesn't really stay down there very long. We had a period of time here where it stuck behind there last year around this time, and it was a few months down there, as was Bitcoin as well. But generally speaking, we don't see it stay in a bull market. We don't see it stay very, very long below that 200 EMA on the daily, but we certainly did really crash through that, unfortunately, and we did find a little bit of support here. Let's see if this holds. This was a buy area that I had said for as an entry for Ethereum. We could certainly come and see it come down, and there's the 200 moving average on the weekly time frame that is certainly around this low area. Look, honestly, am I expecting it to come down here? I am not expecting it to come down here, but if there's a lot more grayscale panic sell-off, we could certainly see a bit of a sharp drop down here, but I certainly would hope that we would hold support there. I'm really 50-50 on this one, guys. With just all the different events that are happening in the world right now, that we could see a further sell-off with ETH. So just be very careful there. And I'll just finish up on Solana here. Certainly, we're down at the 150. So this is where I had said was a good area, was around 165 to 170. Initially, that kind of held. Now we're sitting right on the 50-day moving average. The further down is around 140. And then we're down here at about 121. And again, I'm not expecting Solana to revisit down here at $100, but certainly I would be a buyer down here. And for everybody who was up here saying, "Oh no, I missed out on Solana, where's the entry level, etc.," who didn't buy down here and wished you had, and didn't buy down here and didn't buy down here and didn't buy down here, certainly we may get another opportunity. But my general feeling, again, with the market is it'll be heavily dictated by what Bitcoin does. If Bitcoin drops, down to 55, etc., it could get quite ugly. And just to show you what I mean with the Bitcoin dominance as we wrap up this video here. So here's Bitcoin dominance. So you can see here that it had a very, very high weekly close here. And now we've had a bit of a lower low. So that's so far. So that's good. Let's see what the weekly close is going to be here, because what we saw here was the price of Bitcoin went down, but Bitcoin dominance went up. And that's why we saw a massive bleed off from the alts. So add this to your chart, BTC.D, have it right next to Bitcoin, refer to it, because when you see this go up and you see the price of Bitcoin go down, you know that you might, if you want to exit out of positions, manual stop loss out, that there could be generally speaking, there's going to be a dump from the alts. And that's exactly what happened. As soon as this began to take off, as you could see, this candle here should have been a massive warning sign yesterday. That's a real signal like that alts are about to some heavy drop, and certainly we saw it go up. And if we see it continue to go up and the Bitcoin price continue to go down, the alts will continue to sell off. So keep an eye on that, and keep an eye on the price of Bitcoin, because as you see, Bitcoin dominance went up and Bitcoin went down pretty heavily here. And we even has the Lux Algo sale signal on the daily. We had one back here, the buy signal. Look, if you just follow these signals by Lux Algo, buy here, sell here, buy here, and get out of Dodge City was looks like it triggered on Wednesday or Thursday, right when that Bitcoin dominance came up. You got a big Lux Algo sell block here where people can sell. So certainly, let's see what happens on the 4-hour chart. Sometimes it's good to see if there's any Lux Algo orders here. There is one sitting at around 57,500 and around 55. So if we do lose the 200-day moving 200 EMA, then 57, there's Lux Algo there on the 4-hour on the 57, and on the 55 there as well. Like I said, I do not believe that we're going to go below the, the 53 candle here to the downside. Historically, when we have that buy signal on the hash ribbons, that does not happen. This should be the local low. And of course, if we do go lower than that, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it and give you some updated TA. All right, we're going to wrap it up there. I want to thank you all for joining in. Again, if you want to join the Musk Empire game, the link is below in the description. It's also on my cheat sheet. Please check out my cheat sheet. That's also linked in the description. You have all the levels for buying and selling and all the different resources that I have here for you, education, links, exit stocks. And we'll keep adding to this and make this the best resource in all of crypto. Certainly, so many of the sheets, enhancements, and additions that I've made have come from community suggestions, have come from you. I really appreciate that. Really love the community that we're building here. Thank you so much for your support. And until the next episode here at Tribal Trades, happy trading.